So I want to just leave this up here and open it up, for any dialogue that can continue here. I think it's important that we think about how we center our values, in our research and our work with others. And these are questions that I came up with, but if other people want to talk about other things, I'd love to have a conversation about it. I'm always interested to see how action research looks like for others when they embed their values. Does it look differently than I'm doing it? And how can we learn from each other? And what challenges exist in the schools that you work with and with the groups that you work with to do this type of values embedded action research or values-based action research? And can we create cultures of inquiry? Can people create cultures of inquiry around themselves? And then lastly, this is a selfish ask, right? But it's something that Jackie always encourages us to end with. Are you interested in creating a cross-cultural culture of inquiry? Is there work to do across the ocean in this space, to bring together some of the work of the teacher researchers in our laboratory school with teacher researchers that are connected to NEARI or that are connected somewhere else in Ireland to have these conversations about personal growth and empowerment within their practice and how it's important for them. So hopefully I didn't talk too long, but I wanted to share this with you and I guess open it up for an additional conversation.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Can we post those questions to the group and seek some thoughts and insight, and we'll have a look at the chat as well to see what's happening on the chat section as well. Any comments or thoughts or questions on what Michelle shared with us there, particularly the 4 questions at the end? I think culture of inquiry, how to establish, build a culture of inquiry, alludes to what Tomas was talking about earlier as well, in terms of that time and space and that collaborative space with educators together, looking for an opportunity to build that culture of research or that culture of inquiry in a setting. So is there anyone that would like to add or question or comment? The mentoring idea, Turlock, you talked about the mentoring idea that was mentioned. It has to maintain momentum and evolution, particularly. Yes, good comment there.
Yeah, that's been really important as the program grew, because while it can't really rely just on me and those who are running it now, right? Because you have to imagine yourself out of the picture and the school, moving forward without you, and being able to think about how you can work yourself out of a job at any particular school site, I think is important, because you want it to exist without you.
True, absolutely. So it's that empowering piece as well. And yeah.
Can I go ahead, Maureen? I think your first question there, Michelle, and that was oh my God, I loved your presentation. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. What does your action research look like when you embed your values? I don't know, there's something about that. It's nearly like, what does your life look like when you embed your values? There's that something about being authentic and acting with integrity and being honest to be true to yourself, really. And I think that's about how you live your life. But I also think it obviously has to do with our action research as well. And I think if your values are not embedded either in your life or your action research, I think your life and your action research becomes very complicated and complex. In fact, it's complex anyway, let's face it, but complex at a higher level. I think to be honest to yourself and to be true to yourself is an important thing, I think, always.
Yeah, and I think I had this conversation with Jackie early on, where I said, well, Jackie, it's affecting every part of my life. I can't keep it contained. Right. And I think, isn't that the purpose, right? Is that once it may be safe to do this and, I'm doing this in this research space. And maybe that's where the first step is. But it can't be contained. And then, the fruits of your labor are wonderful.
Bernie.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for that lovely presentation. It was really very good. And I think, as Maureen said there, the fact that it was kind of embedded, your values were embedded in it. It was grounded in your values. So I think gave it a really strong structure then. gave your research a really good structure, which helped maybe in the sustainability of it, you know, which I mentioned earlier is often lacking, you know, that it's not just a once-off thing, that it is able to continue on and be sustained because it's embedded in your values. Would you think that's a fair comment? Right. Okay.
I think I couldn't have dreamed it up, right?
Right.
And I think that's part of being in your dharma, part of being able to kind of embrace your values and see where it takes you. And maybe you've had the same experience with, you know, NEARI taking off, right? Yeah. You know, be just living from your values and doing things from an authentic place, and letting the universe kind of bring all those wonderful things to you. But yeah, I agree 100%. I don't think it would have been able to grow to the place that it has without doing that values work first.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead, Jane. Yeah, just to say, like, I suppose the revert, like talking about living your values, like anyone new to value-based action research sometimes might find it difficult to conceptualize. But coupled with that, you have, like, I'm just really struck by your data and how you presented it. The data is so rich, and like sometimes qualitative research and action research can be criticized in terms of robustness, you know, validity, reliability. And I don't think anyone watching your presentation could put that argument forth. But it's just so rich, and you know, congratulations on what you collected there and communicated. It's just really, I look forward to kind of going through the slides again to study them more, because you so much in there. And you know, the methodology behind that is just, you know, so rich, and anything but some of the criticism that can come action research way, you know.
Yeah. Thanks, Jane.
Thanks, Jane. Jack, you'd like to say something?
Just quickly, it's just that Maureen has posted a URL which says if you'd like to add to the conversation, you can connect at. Now, it's just that as Michelle was speaking, you know, I'm faced with the kind of 16 images of us all. You know, most of them are actually live. And there's something about the here and now and the educative influence that listening to Michelle will literally have in the future. So it's that feeling of dialogue. And with the NEARImeets, as we can actually trace what has been posted on the NEARI site, it's how might we sustain our conversations, and drawing on what Michelle has said, so that we've got a community of inquiry that Jackie stresses as, you know, the importance of that as we move forward together and extend our influence. So I just wanted to point, you know, to what that URL about the conversation. But that was great, Michelle. Thanks very much. Okay.
Thank you, Jack. Jackie.
I wonder, Michelle, if you'd share that quickly, that piece of research that you've done for the AERA symposium we're doing in May about teacher voice in publication.
Yeah, thanks, Jackie. So some of this conversation, and I think, you know, we talked about this earlier, it's creating the spaces for teachers' voices to be heard, like what happens next. And you guys, I wrote down a bunch of things about NEARImeets that I'm going to research and look and find out more about that, and how I can, I don't know, create something like that here, because it sounded exciting and really powerful. But what Jackie is referring to is this complete lack in some of our premier, I'm going to use quotes here, premier academic journals here in educational research, with a lack of classroom teacher research and representation in those. And so that is, it's troubling, but it also is consequential. This is some of the conversation we're having, because when there is a population that is so powerful within the space of education that is not being represented at levels that are necessarily considered, you know, at the highest levels of educational research. We're not a part of the conversation, and the teachers' voices are not being heard, and they become a marginalized population within that space. And it has consequences for any population whose voice isn't represented. And so I think it's a dire situation, and has been for a long time. And I think we've made strides in creating spaces for classroom teachers to have their voices heard, but it's not, I don't think it's enough. And so that kind of has become something that I've been thinking a lot and working a lot with Jack and Jackie on, and what does it look like? How can we reimagine what educational research looks like with the proper representation, instead of trying to fit our teachers into an academic space, which is, I think, is what we try to do a lot, make them more academic, give them skills, give them language to make them hear, but they are their own genre. And that genre has a lot of powerful knowledge vested in it. And so how can we create a space that honors that genre instead of trying to fit them into this space? And I think it's part of our responsibility as those that might be in that academic space to try to work towards that future that doesn't quite exist yet. But that's the next task.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Jeff, for that as well. We're just conscious of time here. So has anybody else got any more thoughts or questions? There's some contributions there to the document on the Wakelet as well. So thank you for that. But at the moment, we're going to move on and begin to conclude, if that's all right with everybody.